Hello, welcome to Simply Be Simply Me with your host, me, Nakeisha Smith. Hope you guys have been enjoying the podcast that I've put out so far. I'm still in a space of I don't know what I'm doing, but God does. So here we go. I want to say thank you to everyone. I have read your comments, your DMs, your messages, text messages, phone calls of all the positive feedback you guys have been giving me and supporting me, and I just want to say thank you. So thank you for enjoying it. Thank you for supporting me, and thank you especially those individuals for believing in me. Again, this is a uncomfortable new space for me, but I am still moving according to what God has planned for me or wants me to do. So, with that being said, I hope you continue to enjoy the episodes. So, like, subscribe on all social media channels and on YouTube and Spotify. So, I want to jump into this episode discussing off of the last conversation and episode that I shared about imposter syndrome. I noticed that I received a lot of feedback, a lot of engagement, and a lot of questions or comments pertaining to that, which leads me to my next topic. Although I realize that I do or did, or maybe a mix of both, suffered from imposter syndrome, I realized that as I was walking through the definition and walking through what I was feeling when realizing that, wait, I do suffer from imposter syndrome, or maybe I should say I did suffer from it. I realized that part of that suffering for me, I was dimming my light. And dimming my light, I realized it's exhausting and I don't want to do that anymore. I made a decision walking into 2024 that I was no longer going to dim my light for anyone or anything. And it was just a coincidence that I realized that I was dimming my light. And I feel that part of that connection was the imposter syndrome and being in spaces sometimes where you don't necessarily feel like, you belong, but in actuality, you do belong. You are in spaces where you feel like, well, why me? But really, why not me? So, in this space of moving forward, I'm no longer dimming my light. Now, that doesn't mean I'm going to just be walking around like, oh, I'm just the greatest. I'm so amazing, because that's just not even who I am by nature. But I am embracing it's okay to celebrate myself. It's okay to celebrate my wins. It's okay to showcase more of me instead of dimming my light and hiding behind the imaginary imposter syndrome that some of us, myself included, we hide behind. I no longer want to do that. Also, I realized in this space of not dimming my light that other people have noticed that my light is shining brighter. Without me realizing it, I was receiving phone calls and messages, but at least three different phone calls. Two individuals said to me, something is different about you, but in a good way. I love what I see. You always have been great. You've always been doing great things. We know, you work hard, but seeing you more now on social media and you speaking, whether it's on camera, whether it's you speaking about your listings or open houses or whatever it is you're doing in real estate, family, seeing you more, you are just shining and we love it. And we feel like this is what we want to see more of. And it makes people feel like, okay, they get to know more about me, but they also just get to see me shine. I also had someone actually say to me on the phone, they always knew I was a boss lady. And if you don't know me, I don't like that term, but a lot of people call me that. They always knew I was a boss lady, but seeing me in front of the camera, seeing me on the podcast, it is something that they feel like, wow, like you are even more of a boss lady or a boss woman than I even thought. And I love to see more of this from you. And coming from this particular person was actually surprising. We were not even having a conversation about this. We were talking about work topics. And then out of nowhere, this person decided to share this with me. And I was like, okay, thank you. But I understood what she was saying and others about just shining and just not dimming my light anymore. Another part of me not dimming my light is I am proud of the woman I am, but more so, I love the woman that I am. I love what I see when I look in the mirror, and that wasn't necessarily always the case. I think us as women sometimes we are self-critical of ourselves for no reason, whether it's we may feel like we have too much gray hair, myself included, um, and we always want to cover up certain things, or we just are critical about, oh, I wish I had the opposite of what someone else has. I'm not in that space. I look in the mirror and I love myself. I love the woman that is staring back at me. I love the gray hairs that keep popping up on the side of my hairline that I choose not to cover anymore. I may cover later on, but right now I just don't feel the need to cover them. I love, I have two tiny freckles on the side of my face. You can't see it now because I have makeup on, but I love my dark circles that I have under my eyes. I just love everything that I see when I look at myself in the mirror every single morning. And I also believe that that's part of why I maybe am shining more to people, because I have loved this woman for a while, but now I'm just showing the world the woman that I love. Loving yourself and loving the woman you are when you look in the mirror is something that's very freeing. um, you don't have to prove yourself, forget to the world, but you don't even have to prove yourself to yourself because you just love who you are. Once you start to truly just love who you are, everything else shines automatically, sometimes without you even doing anything. And also, loving the woman I am has put me also in a different space of I have nothing to prove to anyone but God Himself. And then I have to prove something to myself to just always be a better version of myself every single day. I wake up with the hopes that I'm a better version and a better woman than I was the day before. So I think all of those things combined is why I am shining just a little brighter in the world. And I hope that I continue to shine brighter, to not only continue to help myself and inspire myself, but to inspire others, to inspire my daughter, to inspire young women, to inspire even men and everyone, just to inspire. So that's the space that I am in my life. And I'm happy. I feel free. I feel lighter. I feel, I just feel like, I don't know, I want to bust out into, that's what I feel. I have a couple of other things that I do want to discuss as it pertains to loving the woman I am and not dimming my light. I know I mentioned that I haven't always been in this space of shining more and not dimming my light anymore in 2024, but again, that wasn't always the case. My experience has been I have to and had to dim my light a lot for a good amount of people who were surrounding me. I realized that sometimes I was dimming my light because it was just me, like, oh, I don't want to seem like, I'm showcasing too much of myself, or I don't want anything to come off bragging if I'm sharing, an award or sharing something good that happened in my life, no matter if it's about business, family, me personally. But then there's also a level of me dimming my light where I have been in spaces where I can feel the energy from those around me, where they were giving off, ooh, they were giving off, I just don't like her. They were giving off their own insecurities and they were projecting it onto me. And in those moments, I would feel like, let me dim my light because what people think about me doesn't matter, but I don't want someone to say, well, I don't like her because I did something to them. That would make me, not feel like I'm walking the way I should be walking according to the space of God, because I don't want to walk around or ever choose to walk around to treat people away or make them feel less than. But sometimes the energy in the room, the energy around people, the energy in spaces where people were pretending like they really liked me, but really didn't like me. So in those spaces, I would feel uncomfortable. So I would dim my light and sometimes I would just turn it off. And turning off your light, I think, is even more detrimental than dimming your light because it allows you, once you turn your light off, it allows you to not walk in your true purpose, not walk in your true greatness. I just can't do it anymore. I think we sometimes dim our lights, and not just in work. We sometimes could dim our lights in relationships, as far as friendships, family spaces, corporate, real estate, whatever it is. You can dim your light in so many different scenarios. And I find that I have done that for so long. And now that I'm in the space of not dimming my light, people are like, wow, I didn't notice about you, or wow, I didn't realize you actually are very smart, which is something most people don't know about me because I'm very part of dimming my light. I'm very, very quiet in most spaces. Naturally, I'm a reserved person, but in most spaces, I'm very quiet. I'm usually the most quiet person in the room, and I have been that way since high school, college, young adult. It's just something I've always just been quiet. But as I get older, I realize that yes, I'm naturally reserved and an introvert, but a lot of it was me just dimming my light. Some of it also could be I dim my light because maybe I didn't have the spaces where people allowed me to shine and show my light, or sometimes even show me my own light. Like sometimes I feel like we need people to put a mirror up in front of us to show us you are great, you are amazing, you are wonderful, you are light. So you can then walk into your space of who you are. Dimming my light is just, yeah, it's so 2023. I'm just not doing that anymore. I encourage everyone to stop dimming your light. I encourage everyone to shine and walk into your space of your greatness. I encourage everyone to not allow other people's insecurities be the reason why you don't shine. And just so you know, as I say this, I'm speaking to myself as well, um, because again, I have definitely not walked into my purpose, and I am not doing that anymore. So I want to discuss loving the woman I am now, although that is not something I always felt that I can say that I looked in the mirror and loved the woman that I am. And I want to clarify, it doesn't mean that I was looking in the mirror and feeling like, oh, I despise myself and negative thoughts about myself as far as thinking less of myself. That wasn't the case, and that's not what I mean. I do know that the freeing feeling that I have when I look in the mirror, it's a feeling that I can't really describe unless you know what I mean. When you just like, I look in the mirror and I am like, I love you. I love everything about you. I love who you are. I love the woman that you are now and who you are becoming. And I think if I sit back and say to myself, well, what makes now different than before? Why didn't you look in the mirror before and feel like you just loved the woman you were? And I realized that getting more grounded in my faith and being more stilled in stillness with God, I was just able to fully, like, I always known that I don't belong to anyone but God. I don't need to prove anything to anyone but God. I don't need to have others believe in me as long as God believes in me. And it doesn't mean that I still don't have to show people, okay, why they should use me as their real estate agent, or why they should maybe want to invite me to speak or host or certain events or interviews. I still need to showcase, of course, my work, my experience, my knowledge, but overall, I only need to make sure that I please God. And once I do that, everything else automatically will flow. I will automatically show up as best as I can as the best wife or the best mother or the best woman or the best version of myself. And sitting with that, and really, I would say now it's been about 2 years that I feel that I've really always been into my faith, but really just sitting and making sure I don't start my day without really being grounded in my prayer, my meditation, and my word. And throughout the 2 years of doing this, it has just allowed me to see me for who I really am. And it has allowed me to just love me in all aspects of me. And when I say all aspects of me, if I'm just being real, those moments where we as women, sometimes we know our weight, at least for me, fluctuates. So sometimes I am a couple of pounds heavier than I would like to be. But before, I think I would have been so down on myself if I gained extra weight, so down on myself if I didn't work out the way I used to work out before, because there was a moment where I could do 4 miles, whether it was a walk or a run, with no problem. I would be so hard on myself. Now, I still know that, yes, okay, I feel like I maybe need to shed a couple of pounds and I need to move my body more and work out. But I still love me, whether I'm 10 pounds heavier or 10 pounds less. I still love me the same. It doesn't change. I still love me the same whether I have 10 gray hairs today or 25 next week, or I decide, hey, I'm going to put a rinse and cover up my gray hair. I'm going to love me no matter what stage of me. I'm going to love me even on my tough days where life punches me in my stomach like it does all of us at times. I'm still going to love me in those moments. I'm still going to love me the days that I have ugly cries. I'm still going to love me the days that I am celebrated. And I'm still going to love me the days that I have self-doubt. I'm still going to just love me no matter what I have going on in my life, no matter what I feel I may look like, no matter what anyone says about me, anyone thinks about me. I'm still just going to love me, because at the end of the day, if God loves me, then why would I need to not love myself and love the woman that he created? So it doesn't make any sense to me. So now that I'm really into that, why would I ever want to make God unhappy or displeased with me but not loving myself? So that's part of why I believe I now am more into, I love the woman that I see when I look in the mirror, and I love the woman that looks back at me in the mirror. So hopefully everyone gets to that space in their lives, because it is definitely a wonderful, and I promise you, is the most freeing thing you will ever experience in your entire life when you love yourself and you don't have anything, and I mean anything, to prove to anyone but yourself and God. So we have a unofficial behind the scenes guest. This tends to happen when I am shooting a podcast. I will either say something that will spark someone to present a question or to make a statement. So this behind the scenes guest had a comment after I stated that I don't have anything to prove to anyone but myself and God. And the person behind the scenes actually had an aha moment for themselves. They are not going to be on camera today, but they will in a couple of episodes, so stay tuned. But behind the scenes guest, would you like to share your statement?
Yes, absolutely. I was just saying, it's crazy that you said that you have nothing to prove to anyone. Everything's between yourself and God, because yesterday I kind of had that same aha moment. I feel like as humans, we have these thoughts that run through our head, and sometimes it's important for us to catch them. The thought that ran through my head is, hey, I'm doing this thing, I'm actively pursuing something, I'm in the middle of something career-wise, and I'm trying to prove myself to another human being that necessarily doesn't, it might not be deserve it, but at the end of the day, they bleed just like I do.
That part.
And you quickly realize, okay, no, it is between me and God, because we all have our own ups and downs, our successes, our failures. But what I have to prove is so far beyond what any human can comprehend. Mm-hmm. It's between me and God, and that's my purpose. So you said that, and it just sparked that aha moment. And then after that, I went and helped my dad build a fence in the backyard. I was used for manual labor. But
so you had your aha moment.
I had my aha moment in my parents' house.
God led you to go then help build the fence.
Build the fence.
Okay.
See, look, we don't know what the fence was for. The fence could have been a side of protection. You never know.
You're right.
I just think it was free labor from Thomas. But either way,
not you calling his government
I had
name.
that aha moment. I had that aha moment of I don't have anything to prove to anyone. Yes. It's ever all between me and God.
And
so I'm glad you said that.
A freeing moment?
So freeing. Weight lifted off my shoulders. 1,000 pounds, truthfully. Was able to build a fence with happiness and confidence in my heart versus a lot of weight on my mind. Just knowing like, hey, I really don't have anything to prove to anybody. Nothing. My successes and failures are all what make my story, my journey. And it makes that mountain just even better when you're at the top of it. So, yeah, you said that, and it definitely sparked that whole thought process through my mind in a millisecond.
I love that. I hope it sparks the same feeling for everyone else who's watching. So now, thank you for that. I appreciate you for sharing that to the people, even though you are behind the scenes hiding. But I can't wait until you guys actually see the person on screen. One day you will be surprised for some of you who know who this person is. But thank you for sharing your aha moment with me on the podcast. So now we are going to Q&A time. So I am going to read the question that sometimes makes me a little nervous because I don't know what the question is in advance, so I read it in real time. So I pray that it's something that doesn't make me want to clutch my pearls, but let's see. This is funny. I'll explain why it's funny. So the question is, how do you balance family, work, and personal time? I don't. I think that people who say that they have all of that balance well, I don't think that they are being honest. And if you do, please let me know. Please send me a message on how I can balance it well, because I feel that when everything is well, as far as like balanced with my family, I am taken away from personal time for myself, and I'm taken away from personal time in my business. It doesn't mean that those areas are completely neglected, but how can I be 100% with my family and 100% at work and 100% personal time? It just doesn't make sense. So I don't think that I have it fully balanced yet, but I try to prioritize. So I try to make sure family time is family time, and try my best not to allow work to spill into it, although in my business of real estate, sometimes that's a little challenging because sometimes we have fires that we need to put out, unexpected fires, and sometimes clients, they feel like they need us right away. So one of the things that I've implemented in my business that doesn't spill over into my family time or my personal time, to the best of my ability, and I've really been sticking to this, is I do not do real estate on Sundays. That wasn't always the case for me. I try not to now do not just real estate, but any business on Sundays, because I need that time to reset myself, because I'm so busy every single day of the week. And also, I still need to do things with my family. I still have children. I still have all of these things. So I put that in place for myself. And as far as my business, I try my best to make sure that when I'm focused on business, I'm focused on business. So if I decide to say, okay, I'm going to make sure I take care of the things business related from 10 a.m. to, let's just say, 5 p.m., then that's what I try to focus on. In between there, of course, I may have to do something with my family, or maybe a quick lunch date with my husband, if we both have the time. But I try my best to just keep everything separate, but I don't have a full balance. If I say I have everything so balanced and everything is great, I'm not being honest with myself, let alone any of you. But again, if someone out there has the remedy for balancing all of this at the same time and making sure everything is perfect, not perfect, but making sure everything is streamlined, please let me know. I would love to hear it. I love any advice that you can give me. Now, that wraps up this episode of Simply Be Simply Me. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment on all social media platforms, YouTube, Spotify. And also, don't forget to send your questions in to Simply Be Simply Me. If you need advice, you can sometimes just send me a question about advice that you need for yourself, or just a question, or if you just want to send in a statement, positive statement, please feel free to do so. You can send it to sbsm@simplybesimplyme.com. I think I got it right in one take. Or you can also DM the Simply Be Simply Me Instagram page. I don't see the questions. I don't even manage that page. I typically don't even see what goes up until it goes up in the morning like everyone else, and I'm in shock, like, oh, it's out there. So hopefully, again, you guys enjoyed this episode, and I will see you next week at hopefully the same time. Simply Be Simply Me. Thank you for having me. Bye.